Welcome to the video. So today you're going to learn about the fundamentals of real estate. So we're just going to dive right in. So why does everyone like real estate? Why even invest in real estate? I get that you're probably a newbie if you're looking at this video and you see all these people online making a ton of money, or at least it seems that way, or maybe just like looking at cool houses and you've always wanted to do that. But there are actual real practical reasons as to why you should invest in real estate. And this is me. I used to be a stock portfolio guy, like a stock, bond, financial markets guy, and I transitioned into real estate because I realized the power that this vehicle has for wealth building and to generate short-term income as well as long-term wealth building generational wealth, right? So let's get into the specific reasons why investing in real estate may be a good idea for you. The first is appreciation. So appreciation is the gradual rise in value of a property, of an asset over time, right? If you look at any property in Zillow in most markets in the country, you'll see that while there is ups and downs in the real estate market, it trends upward over time. It's actually crazy. And typically there's that saying where in the stock market, your money doubles every 7 to 10 years. Well, in real estate, it's kind of a similar thing. So that's appreciation, right? Without you having to do anything to the property. The next part is cash flow, right? That's where you hear these buzzwords, passive income, passive income. That's cash flow, right? You have your income, which is your rents minus your expenses, what it costs to operate the property. And then it spits out cash flow every single month. That's pure income to you every single month. So that's a benefit. Then there's depreciation. Depreciation kind of goes hand in hand with the last benefit, which is tax benefits. So I guess I'll just share both of them. So depreciation and tax benefits. But with real estate, you can get things called write-offs. Depreciation can basically offset a lot of your income so that you have to pay less in taxes over time. And then without going way too deep into the rabbit hole, there are a bunch of other tax benefits that you can consult with a qualified accountant or a bookkeeper to be able to help you offset more of your income to save more money, bottom line, and pay less in taxes. And the last thing is leverage, right? With real estate, you don't have to go buy a property in all cash. If that were the case, excuse me, and there was not such thing as a loan, then a lot less people would be buying real estate. You can't buy a $500,000 home in cash, right? Most people don't have that cash. Leverage is when you're able to use other people's money, aka a bank, in order to finance a portion of the purchase, right? And then that would be the 20% down payment or whatever you've heard, right? Typically, a bank would finance 80% of the purchase, and then you would have to put a 20% down payment, and then that's 100% of the pie. So you only have to come up with 20% of the money to buy the property, right? Another great reason to invest in real estate. So now that we got that out of the way, let's answer the elephant in the room, right? Can you get rich quickly from real estate? I'm going to say no, because real estate is a long-term game. You can get rich wholesaling real estate, flipping real estate. That's like, I had a client actually make a $15,000 wholesale fee, no money out of his pocket in like 40 days within working with me. So you can get rich very quickly in real estate, but in order to sustain those profits and grow it over time, no, it's going to take a very long time to be able to get wealthy. Getting rich is easy, but getting wealthy is difficult, right? And I want to talk about flips versus rentals. The flipping and wholesaling route, you can get rich that way. With rentals, it's a long-term wealth building game. Now, phase one is the phase you are very likely in. It's the education process. It's why you're watching videos like this, right? And good on you for doing that. That's the first step in action. You can learn about real estate from a bunch of resources nowadays. The first is through books, right? BiggerPockets.com has a great selection of books. You can learn from YouTube videos like the one you're listening to right now. There's websites. You can go through in-person mentors, podcasts. There's a bunch of resources out there, so go search for it. I understand that it can be overwhelming, but you can simply do a Google search. Best real estate investing podcasts, and you can just start diving in right there, or books or whatever, right? Cool. Before we get into the meat of the video, we're going to want to talk about the backbone of real estate, which is math. Uh, it's it's nothing crazy like your high school calculus or physics, right? This is just basic math: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? Those are the things you need to know in order to properly evaluate properties. So you'll need to learn the basics of how to evaluate properties, right? Because how can you know if it's a good deal or not, if you're going to flip it, if you're going to rent it, you name it, right? So I'm going to take you through 4 basic things that you should know that have to deal with math. So the first thing is income, right? Income is all of the revenue that a property generates in a given month or a year. For example, typically you get paid rental income every single month. Let's say the rent is $1,000 a month, and let's say that you are owed a $50 utility reimbursement. So you made $1,000 plus $50, which is $1,050 a month in income, right? Then you have to go to your expenses. Expenses is all the things that it costs to operate a property: property management, utilities, landscaping, pests. There's a bunch of different things in there, right? Once you add up all of those are your monthly expenses. So, and then you go income minus your expenses equals our third metric, which is cash flow. Cash flow, let me restate, is income minus expenses, and that's cash flow. That's the net profit every single month and year in your pocket. Now, the last basic metric is ROI, or return on investment. This is essentially, it is what it is, right? It's return on your initial investment. So let's say that you have $100,000 invested into a property and your cash flow is $20,000 a year. That means it's 20,000 divided by 100,000, and that's 20% return on your money every single year. That's your ROI, return on investment. By the way, 20% is a really good ROI. So if you ever find a deal like that, you should probably buy it. Cool. So next thing, we're going to talk about niches and strategies in real estate. There are a ton of niches and strategies within real estate. And let's start with niches. So a few of the niches are land, single family houses, multifamily, which are, your duplexes, triplexes, quads. So that's a 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit apartment building, all the way to 1,000-unit apartment buildings. That's a multifamily. There's REITs, which are real estate investment trusts, which are really large publicly traded real estate companies where you can buy shares of them on a stock market. There's commercial real estate. So you have like hotels, storage facilities, you have retail, like shopping centers, things like that. And then you have mobile homes as well. Now let's go into some strategies. There is the buy and hold, which are rentals, right? And you can break that down into 3 different things. Long-term rentals, which is like your conventional rental, right? You pay month to month, or it's a year-long lease. That's a long-term rental. Then your midterm rentals. These are blowing up in popularity right now. In fact, I have a couple of them that I rent out to traveling nurses and Navy SEALs and things like that. Midterm rentals are exactly what it sounds. These are like 3 to 6 month stays, midterm. Then there's STRs, short-term rentals. This is your Airbnbs of the world, where it's a couple days, maybe a week at a time for your stay. So next is flipping. That's the next strategy. This is when you buy a property, you renovate the property, and then you sell it or flip it for a profit, right? Next is wholesaling real estate. I have a full video on how to wholesale real estate on my YouTube, so go check that out for an in-depth analysis. But basically, wholesaling is where you sign a contract with a seller, and then you sell that contract to another buyer and collect a fee in the middle, right? And then there's development. This is where people are buying existing properties, bulldozing them and building up, or you're buying land and building up. It's ground up construction, right? Now, your strategy is dependent on a bunch of different things, and I want you to think about all of these things before you dive into it. I'm going to go into these right now. The first is goals. So you need to think about what your goals are. Do you want $10,000 a month in passive income? Do you want to make $250,000 a year to replace your current 9-to-5 income? Think about these things, and that will dictate the next thing, which is your strategy, okay? Let's say that you want to replace your job income as fast as possible. Well, the best strategy is probably not rentals because you cash flow maybe $200 to $400 a month, right? You're not going to replace your income with that quickly, at least. A quicker strategy would be to wholesale or flip real estate. So you'd want to go into that route first and then later on do rentals, right? First, your goal is to replace your income in this example. The next thing is your timeline, right? Let's say you have a 1-year timeline versus a 10-year timeline. A 1-year timeline would dictate more towards wholesaling and flipping, whereas a 10-year timeline would be rentals because it's a slow burn to growth. Then you want to choose your market. You want to have a criteria for the properties you're searching for, aka, what's your budget? I want to buy a fixer-upper under $500,000 in, Santa Maria, California, built before 1940. You just need to nail in your criteria. Now, and then you need to find a marketing plan. This is basically how are you going to find great deals. Now, I have a YouTube video called How to Find Deeply Discounted Deals. If you're interested in how to find the great deals, go ahead and look at that video. The next thing is financing deals. So we'll go into that a little bit later. Then we have teams and systems, which we will also go into a little bit later. And then ultimately the exit strategy. So are you going to rent it when you buy it? Are you going to flip it? What is your exit strategy? Now, what is the process of buying a property? Before we get into some of those things like financing, teams and systems, and exit strategies. So, process of buying a property. First, you need to decide your strategy, right? Then once you decide what your strategy is, you're going to want to decide what your financing method is, which we'll go into in just a moment. Then you're going to want to begin searching for deals. You're going to make offers on deals you find. You're going to negotiate deals. Once you negotiate a deal, you'll get under a contract or you'll sign a contract with the seller to purchase their home. You perform your due diligence, which is basically getting your home inspection, your pest inspection, getting your contractors through there. That's how you perform your due diligence. Once you're done with that, you're going to sign papers and then you'll close on the property, which means you'll be the owner, right? That's the process of how to buy a property. Now, next up is the financing. There's a bunch of different ways. I actually made a video on this, so you can go ahead and check it out. But short story, you can do cash financing, a conventional loan, which is just a prototypical mortgage. There's FHA, which is a low down payment, sometimes 3.5% down payment for first-time home buyers. There's owner financing, which is seller financing or subject to. There's hard money, which are typically used for short-term loans like fix and flip projects. There's private money, which can be used for long-term or short-term. And private money is essentially just borrowing money from a private individual. Could be your mom, dad, best friend, could be someone you met and are developing a relationship with, and they give you a loan. There's HELOCs, which is a home equity line of credit, which is basically a credit line against your current home. And then you can also do partnerships for financing, right? Maybe you can be the person going out there, finding deals, doing the work, managing the renovation, managing the rental, and then you find a partner to front all the money for you, right? Cool. Now, let's go into like I said, we have the marketing video, how to find deals on YouTube. So let's talk about your team, right? So your team will consist of a few people. You're going to have contractors, an agent, you're going to have an escrow officer, a lender, and then an inspector, right? Those are the main people that you're going to need on your team. So start networking with people. Go find people to at least team up with and partner up with, right? And then lastly, we're going to go into some exit strategies. So you always want to start with the end in mind. Exit strategies are flipping, wholesaling, rental. I like to look at it with every option, right? When a deal comes on to my plate on my table, I say, cool, does it work as a wholesale? No? Okay. Does it work as a flip? No? Okay. Does it work as a rental, development, Airbnb? I look at it through all of these different lenses, and then I choose a strategy. Let's say I'm going to wholesale a deal. Okay, if this wholesale doesn't work out, am I going to flip it? That's an exit strategy. What if the flip doesn't work out? Can I rent it? You want to be thinking about all of these things in advance. Start with the end in mind in case things go south. A real life example, I thought I was going to flip a property one time and it just didn't sell. So I ended up keeping it as a rental. I cashed a little bit and then I ultimately sold it a couple years later down the line. And so you have to be flexible and fluid. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Those are the basic fundamentals and thought processes of what you need to go and do in real estate in order to at least just get a baseline overview, right? I encourage you to look at some more of my YouTube videos. I encourage you to ask me questions and even go on websites like biggerpockets.com and start networking with people at real estate meetups and things like that, so that you can start building that real estate acumen. And then the last tip I have for you in the fundamentals is just get started. Stop making excuses to yourself. I hear people ask me questions all the time. How do I do this, this, and that? And I give them the information, but they never execute on it. That is the most frustrating thing in my world when people ask me that. They ask me for advice, I give it to them, and then they do not take it because it's literally so simple. It's not an easy process, but it's very simple. So I encourage you to just take action. Go buy a book on flipping houses, buy a book on rental properties, talk to people like me, digest YouTube videos, do what you need to do, and then get out there, choose a strategy, and execute. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, go ahead and hit me with that like button. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and share this with someone who you think might need it or it would bring value to.